stop right here. Just for a moment. Let there be silence. What you're about to hear isn't some generic self-help talk about finding yourself. This is a revelation of the ancient Hebrew name for what God placed inside you. The very thing that creates that friction, that sense of being off, that no one has ever been able to explain. This answer won't just make you feel special. It's going to make you realize why you are specific. You walk into a room and you can practically feel the atmospheric pressure of the emotions there before a single word is spoken. You know something is wrong before anyone opens their mouth. And when you mention it, people look at you like you're just looking for trouble. It's not paranoia. It's an access point that no one around you seems to have. You process the world differently. Deeper, slower, quieter. While everyone else has already fired off an answer and moved on, you're still peeling back layers they didn't even know existed. The world around you demands hustle culture responses. Fast, shallow, fitting into the assembly line. Productivity, speed, instant ROI. But your internal rhythm doesn't click with that. You need time to digest, to reflect, to connect dots that are separated by entire lifetimes. And you've started to wonder if the problem is you. If you're lagging behind. If you're broken. You connect with people. You love. You're present. But there's this thin veil of separation you can't quite name. It's like you're standing a few inches to the left of where everyone else is. It's as if you're viewing life through a high-definition lens that no one else is wearing. You're in the conversation, but you're also observing the conversation. You're in the moment, but you're processing the moment in real time. It creates a subtle distance that no one notices, but you feel it every single day. You've wondered if something in your wiring is snapped, because what seems easy for everyone else feels heavy for you. And what is glaringly obvious to you is completely invisible to them. So you've learned to keep your mouth shut. Because the last time you spoke up, they called you too much or complicated. It's not arrogance. It's not just lonely at the top or common social anxiety. It's something hovering between a persistent displacement and a gut-level certainty that there's a reason for it. And that reason isn't a defect. In the next few minutes, I'm going to hand you 3 things. The Hebrew name for what God put in you that creates this misfit feeling, and why it's a signal, not a failure. A 3-step protocol to turn what felt like a limitation into a weapon. And a declaration that will reframe every single moment you ever felt wrong. Stay with me until the end. What's revealed in the next block changes the meaning of everything that came before. Don't look away. Close your eyes for a second. Or just look away from the screen. What I'm about to show you requires your total focus. These are the 5 signs. 5 specific scenarios you've lived through that have been mislabeled your whole life. Today, they get their real names. Sign number 1. You feel the emotional weight of a room before you have any verbal information. You walk into a Starbucks, a boardroom, or a family dinner, and you already know the vibe is off before a greeting is exchanged. You don't need evidence. You don't need a vibe check. Your body has already registered it. Your mind has mapped it. Your spirit has discerned it. They called you overly sensitive. They told you that you were being dramatic. They accused you of making mountains out of molehills. You're overthinking it, they say. You're seeing things that aren't there. But you know they are. It's not hypersensitivity. It's the Tzelem operating at a perceptive level that precedes the natural. It's reading layers that others can't access. You aren't making it up. You're seeing what's actually there. And just because they're blind to it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Sign number 2. You have 0 tolerance for superficiality. Small talk exhausts you more than silence ever could. You'd rather be alone than fake interest in topics that don't touch anything real. Meaningless banter about the weather, office gossip, empty entertainment. you try to participate. You smile. You nod. But inside, you feel a deep, soul-level fatigue. It's like every shallow word costs you energy you can't afford to waste. They called you difficult. They said you were antisocial. They accused you of having a holier-than-thou attitude. But that's not it. The image of God in you was built for the deep. Your irritation with the surface isn't a social bug. It's your original nature resisting what doesn't match its frequency. You aren't antisocial. You are specific. Sign number 3. You carry a sense of purpose you can't fully name, but it won't go away, no matter how much you try to shrink it, ignore it, or rationalize it with real-world logic. It's just there. They called you self-centered. They said you think you're special. They accused you of having pride disguised as spirituality. But it's not that. It's Demut, the functional likeness to God. It includes creativity, direction, and a drive for more. What you feel isn't vanity. It's the recognition of your assignment. You aren't full of yourself. You are acknowledging what was poured into you. Sign number 4. You've been misunderstood by the people closest to you. People who actually love you. And it left marks. Not because they were being malicious, but because they simply couldn't access what you're carrying. They called you complicated. They told you no one really gets you. They made you feel like the problem was your very essence. But that's not it. Tzelem is only fully understood by those who were designed to recognize it. Being misunderstood isn't proof of a defect. It's proof of specificity. You aren't hard to understand. You're just too deep for people who are only equipped for the shallow end. Sign number 5. In your quietest moments, you feel something that can only be described as a presence beyond yourself. Yet it feels like it's in you. They called it anxiety. They told you it's just your imagination. They tried to medicate it away to make the feeling vanish. But it's not anxiety. It's the Tzelem, recognizing where it came from. The image recognizing the original. You aren't imagining things. You're perceiving a connection that everyone else has lost. This isn't psychology. This isn't a personality test or an Enneagram type. This is the image of God in you, operating according to its original blueprint. And the world around you simply doesn't have the vocabulary to name it. Comment right now. I was made different. Not out of pride, but out of recognition. Declare it before we move on. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you won't land if your attention is divided. There is a word in the original Hebrew that changes everything you thought about yourself. Actually, it's 2 words, and they appear together in the most important verse about human identity ever written. The version you usually hear goes like this: created in the image of God. You hear that and you think it means moral likeness or some vague spiritual similarity. A nice, fluffy statement that carries no practical weight. Something Sunday school teachers say that doesn't change how you feel when you wake up on a Monday morning. The cost of that mistake is this: anyone who sees image as a vague metaphor loses the practical function of Genesis 1:26. And they keep feeling out of place without knowing why. Because the word wasn't translated, it was diluted. The 2 words are Tzelem and Demut. And they don't mean what you were taught. Chavanion and Tzelem. Image as a functional representation. In the ancient world, when a king couldn't be present in a far-off territory, he would place a statue, a Tzelem, to represent his authority in that place. That statue wasn't a decoration. It was a function. It wasn't art. It was delegated presence. Anyone who looked at that statue knew the king was present through it. They knew that to negotiate with the statue was to negotiate with the king. To honor the statue was to honor the king. The king's authority operated through that form. You are God's Tzelem in this territory. You aren't a cheap knockoff. You are a functional representative. You aren't trying to be like God. You are the way God makes himself present here. Through you, he speaks. Through you, he acts. Through you, he represents his nature in this space. Demut, likeness as operational capacity. It's the ability to think, create, discern, govern, and care. Functions that reflect the character of the original. Not in perfection, but in direction. It's not that you are God. It's that you carry the capacity to operate according to God's principles. To create where there is a void. To bring order where there is chaos. To care where there is abandonment. You don't just carry the image. You carry the capacity to operate as the image. And that capacity isn't an add-on. It's part of your DNA. It's in you even when you're not using it. Here is the direct application to what you're feeling. The misfit feeling you carry isn't a bug. It's the Tzelem operating in an environment that has been partially corrupted. The image doesn't match the room. Not because the image is wrong, but because the room is below the original design. You aren't broken. You are intact in a fragmented context. The strangeness you feel is the signal that you weren't made to adapt to what is substandard. Look at Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. The prophet who felt too strange, too young, not polished enough. He argued with God about his own inadequacy. I don't know how to speak, he said. I'm just a kid. But God didn't change the calling. He didn't fix Jeremiah. He didn't say, you're right, I'll pick someone else. He said, don't say you're just a kid. You will go wherever I send you. Jeremiah wasn't defective. He was Tzelem, operating before he had the vocabulary for what he was carrying. God didn't tell him he was wrong. He told him he was right before he was ready. The feeling of being out of place precedes the assignment. Think about it like this. A precision instrument calibrated to a specific frequency is going to look off in any room that wasn't built for that frequency. It's not broken. It's calibrated for something the environment hasn't caught up to yet. You aren't maladjusted. You are adjusted to a standard the world around you has lost. Let me stop for a full minute, because what comes next needs space. Objective facts. You have felt different in countable moments of your life. You have been misunderstood by people who love you. You carry something you can't fully name. These aren't just feelings. They are data points. And those data points now have an explanation. And here is who you are in the middle of all this. You are Tzelem, the king's functional image in this territory. What makes you different is what makes you an instrument, and the displacement you feel is just the signal that you haven't yet fully occupied the space you were calibrated for. Now I need to show you what the Tzelem in you actually is. Not in the abstract, but in the 3 ways it operates in your daily life. Identity number 1, image. You are God's functional representative in this territory. Not a copy, not a light version. An image that carries the authority of the original. Like an ambassador carries the authority of their nation. Like an executor carries the authority of the one who sent them. This identity authorizes you to act with delegated authority. Not with arrogance, but with function. When you speak truth in a room that is addicted to lies, you aren't being rude, you are being the image. When you discern what others miss, you aren't being superior. You are being Tzelem. That authority you feel isn't ego. It's the recognition of function. And function never has to apologize for existing. Identity number 2, dwelling. The misfit feeling you carry isn't the world rejecting you. It's the Tzelem. Recognizing that this isn't its permanent habitat, you carry the original inside you while navigating the fragmented. This identity authorizes shameless strangeness. You have non-belonging without the reject identity. You don't need to fit in because you weren't built to fit. You were built to represent something that the space around you can't fully contain yet. That doesn't make you wrong. It makes you a signal. Identity number 3, standard. The integrity of the Tzelem in you is the benchmark that others need to see to recalibrate themselves. Your wholeness in a fragmented environment is a statement of what is possible. This identity authorizes you to be seen as different without needing to explain yourself or shrink. You don't need to convince anyone that you're valid. Your presence, aligned with the original design, is the proof. Those who need to see it will see it. Those who aren't ready will resist. And neither reaction changes the fact that you are the standard. Comment right now which of these three identities you're receiving today: image, dwelling, or standard. Declare it and subscribe so the next word finds you without resistance. The Tzelem Protocol. 3 practical steps. Do them now, not tomorrow. Now. Step 1. Name the difference. Say it out loud. What makes me different isn't a defect. It's design. 3 times. Use your voice. Even if you're alone. Even if no one hears you. You hear you. And the territory hears you. Declare it. Step 2. Deconstruct the wrong name. Identify a label you've been given for being different. Too sensitive. Complicated. Difficult. Say it out loud. That name was given by someone who didn't have the vocabulary for what I carry. I'm giving that name back. It doesn't belong to me. Give it back right now. Don't hold on to it. Step 3. Declare the design. I am Tzelem. I am the king's functional image in this territory. What makes me different is what makes me an instrument. 3 times. With authority. Not as a generic positive affirmation, but as a recognition of fact. The sign of confirmation won't be immediate relief in every area. It will be a small shift in how you see yourself in a specific context. The stillness of someone who finally understands what they've been carrying. Not euphoria. Stillness. If you feel that, you know the protocol worked. If you want to work on what is still blocking the Tzelem from operating in its full power in your life, there is a full protocol in the first pinned comment. Not now. Do it after you finish this ritual tonight. In the next 72 hours, 3 things will be thrown at you. Not as a maybe, but as a certainty, and you need to know their names before they arrive. Tactic 1. Contradictory evidence. This will come as a situation where your Tzelem isn't recognized. Someone will treat you like the old version of you. Someone will look at you like nothing has changed. The enemy will use their behavior as proof that tonight's revelation isn't real. Your weapon is this. Remember that Tzelem is function, not external validation. You don't need to be recognized by everyone to be the image. You are the image because God made you the image. Someone else's blindness doesn't change the fact. Don't hand your identity back just because someone didn't see it. Tactic 2. Disguised pride. This will come as a whisper trying to twist what you've learned into arrogance. It will try to make you use Tzelem as a reason to look down on others. If you do that, you lose the function. Because an image doesn't elevate itself. It represents. Your weapon is this. Remember that Tzelem is service, not superiority. Every time you feel yourself using this identity to put yourself above someone, stop. Go back to the design. To represent isn't to dominate. It's to reflect. Tactic 3. Scientific self-doubt. This will come as rationalization. This is just psychology, not theology. This is just self-help with a Bible verse. This is just emotional comfort disguised as a revelation. Your weapon is this. Don't let them separate what God joined. Divine image and practical function. Don't let them reduce a revelation to a feeling. Remember that Tzelem isn't a metaphor. It is an ontological reality. You aren't feeling special. You are recognizing design. If the enemy makes you doubt the foundation, he takes you out of the game before you even start. And the most dangerous voice will use the vocabulary of this message to make you feel like you've arrived and you don't need anything else. That is the Tzelem being stunted. Because recognizing the identity is the beginning, not the end. Those who stop at recognition never move into occupation. Lift your chin. It's not arrogance. It's the posture of an image. It's the posture of someone who knows whose they are. I release the name complicated. I release the name too sensitive. I release the shame of being different. I release the attempt to squeeze myself into spaces made for people with a different design. I release the idea that being out of place was proof of rejection. Say it out loud. I release it. 3 times. Let it go. I summon the 3 identities now. Image, dwelling, standard. Not as a concept, but as operational reality. The image that represents. The dwelling that recognizes its origin. The standard that recalibrates. And now, the voice of the Father. Because he needs to speak directly to what you've lived through. I made you different on purpose. I knew you would walk into rooms and feel what others don't feel. I knew you would process things slower, deeper, and quieter. I knew you would wonder why you are this way. And I was waiting for this moment. The moment where you stopped apologizing for being what I made. You are my Tzelem. You represent me in this territory. And a king's image doesn't ask permission to exist. You don't need the approval of people who don't have the vocabulary for what I've placed in you. You don't need to shrink to fit. You need to occupy the place I prepared. That misfit feeling you carry is just the sign that you aren't in the right spot yet. But the right spot exists, and you will get there. Because I don't create an image without a function, and I don't give a function without a destiny. Coverage now. Blood over the mind, fire over the relationships, spirit over the timing, and total protection over the Tzelem that was activated tonight. Committed, commissioned, sent. Committed, commissioned, sent. Don't say amen yet. Committed, commissioned, sent. Now you can say amen. Comment right now, I am Tzelem. Declare your identity before you leave. The territory needs to hear it. You know someone who has always been called different, too much, or hard to read. Someone who still doesn't know the name of what they're carrying. Send this message to them right now. Not to a group chat, to them. And if they want to understand why they also feel different in a way they can't name, the link is in the first comment, waiting for them, just like it waited for you. In the next message, I'm going to show you what happens when the Tzelem finally occupies the place that was prepared, and why the enemy tries so hard to keep that seat empty. Hit the bell. It is done. You are not the same person you were when this message started.